Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. Have you ever thought that a small, everyday coin lying in your drawer could be worth a fortune? Imagine flipping through some old change, and without even knowing it, you're holding something that could change your life. Welcome to the incredible story of the 1972 Washington quarter dollar, a seemingly ordinary coin with a value that will absolutely blow your mind. Before we dive into the jaw-dropping price this little coin has reached recently, let's take a journey through history, because understanding what makes this coin so special starts with knowing where it came from. Let's rewind back to 1932. The United States Mint introduced the Washington quarter to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It quickly became a staple in American pockets, purses, and piggy banks. And for decades, people spent it without a second thought. But not all Washington quarters are created equal. Some are just worth 25 cents, others a few dollars to collectors. But a rare few? They're worth their weight in gold, or more. Now fast forward to the year 1972, a year marked by space exploration, political turmoil, and shifting culture. But tucked away in the wallets of everyday Americans was a tiny piece of metal, unnoticed, unremarkable, yet holding a secret that only time would reveal. The 1972 Washington quarter was minted in large numbers, both in Philadelphia and Denver. So what makes this one stand out? Let's start with the design. On the front, or obverse, you have that familiar profile of George Washington. Facing left, his gaze focused, proud. Above him, the word Liberty. Below, the year 1972. And just to the left of his neck, the mint mark, if there is one. Flip it over, and you'll see the classic American bald eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows. It's a symbol of strength, freedom, and heritage. But beneath this patriotic imagery lies something far more thrilling, the story of a rare error coin. You see, in the minting process, things don't always go perfectly. Sometimes a coin is struck on the wrong planchet. Sometimes it's double struck. Other times, the die that stamps the coin wears down or shifts just enough to cause a misalignment. And that's exactly what happened with some of the 1972 Washington quarters. These error coins are incredibly rare. A small batch of quarters minted that year came out with remarkable flaws, off-center strikes, double dies, or struck on an incorrect metal planchet. These errors weren't caught at the time. They made their way into circulation, hiding in plain sight. And then the collectors found them. That's when things started to get really interesting. Over the years, numismatists, those are people who study and collect coins, began to notice strange things about some 1972 quarters. The letters on the coin might appear thicker or doubled. Some coins showed a slight tilt in the image or unusual ridging along the edge. And in the rarest of the rare cases, there were 1,972 quarters that had been struck on planchets meant for other coins, like the dime or even foreign currency blanks. These kinds of errors are like buried treasure in the world of coin collecting. They're mysterious, hard to find, and extraordinarily valuable. So now, you're probably wondering, how valuable are we talking? Let's put it this way. Most people might toss a quarter into a parking meter or a vending machine without blinking. But one lucky person who recognized what they had didn't just spend it, they cashed in. Recently, a 1972 Washington quarter dollar with an incredibly rare error was authenticated, verified, and auctioned off for a sum that left collectors speechless. This wasn't just a collector's dream. It was a life-changing moment. A quarter that had once sat forgotten in a change jar was now sitting in the spotlight, celebrated as a numismatic masterpiece. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. That 1972 Washington quarter dollar sold for $155,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin, worth over $155,000. Now the question is, do you have one? The next time you get change back from the store, or you're digging through a coin jar in the attic, take a closer look. Examine the edges. Check the year. Look for anything unusual, double lettering, strange colors, off-center images. You might just be holding on to something priceless. Because in the world of coin collecting, the biggest treasures often come in the smallest packages. Top 2. You might think that all quarters are the same. After all, they're just loose change, right? You use them at vending machines, laundromats, maybe toss them into a jar at the end of the day. But what if I told you that there's one particular quarter, minted in 1973, that's not only incredibly rare, but also shockingly valuable? A coin so extraordinary, it turned heads in the collector world and sold for a fortune. Today, we're going deep into the world of American coins to explore the mystery, rarity, and value of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. So sit tight, because what looks like just another quarter could actually be a ticket to something much bigger. Let's start by going back in time, all the way to the origins of this iconic coin. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 as a tribute to the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design featured a strong, noble profile of the first president, a symbol of leadership and history. Over the decades, it became one of the most recognized coins in American pockets. By 1973, the quarter had already cemented its place in everyday life. But that particular year, something unusual happened. A small number of quarters minted in 1973 have since emerged as hidden gems, coveted not for their face value, but for their hidden worth. What exactly makes the 1973 Washington quarter stand out? First, let's talk about its design. On the obverse, or front, is the familiar face of George Washington. His features are sharp and clear, with the word liberty above, the motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year 1973 at the bottom. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the classic image of the American bald eagle on the reverse, wings spread wide, clutching arrows, surrounded by the words United States of America and quarter dollar. Now, at a glance, this may look like any other quarter you'd find in your change. But here's where things get interesting. Most 1973 quarters were minted in large quantities, and the vast majority were spent and forgotten. But a tiny number were struck with errors, imperfections that occurred during the minting process. These errors are what transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Some 1973 quarters were struck on the wrong type of planchet, meaning the metal blank intended for a different coin entirely. Imagine a quarter that's the size of a quarter, but made from the metal intended for a dime or a foreign coin. Others show signs of being double struck or having a slight misalignment in the design. Some have doubling on the date or the lettering, which can only be seen under magnification but is incredibly rare. These errors are not flaws. To collectors, they're treasures, because in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, rarity equals value. The fewer coins with a particular feature, the higher their worth. And that's exactly why some 1973 quarters have fetched enormous prices at auctions. Let's take a moment to think about this. A coin that cost just 25 cents to make and was likely used to buy candy, coffee, or parking could now be worth enough to buy a new car, or take a luxurious vacation, or even put a serious down payment on a house. And it all comes down to condition and rarity. A 1973 Washington quarter in ordinary, circulated condition might only be worth a few cents more than face value. But if you've got one in uncirculated, mint condition, especially with an error, then you're in another league entirely. If there's a term you need to know, proof coins. These are special coins made with extra care for collectors, using a special minting process that gives them a brilliant, mirror-like finish. Some 1973 proof quarters with unique features, like a rare die variety or striking error, have become extremely desirable among serious collectors. And then there's the grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless, perfect specimen. A high-grade 1973 quarter with an error can climb in value very quickly. Combine high grade with rarity, and you've got something extremely valuable. But here's where it gets exciting. Among these already rare and valuable quarters, one coin made headlines that a 1973 Washington quarter, struck in extraordinary condition and featuring an extremely rare minting error, was recently appraised and auctioned. The bidding war was intense. Collectors from all over the world competed for a chance to own it. And when the final hammer came down, the price stunned everyone. That single quarter sold for $145,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter, worth just 25 cents when it left the mint in 1973, was sold for $145,000. Think about that next time you're handed some change. That little coin in your palm could be hiding a secret, a small detail, an error, a tiny imperfection that makes it worth more than its weight in gold. So check your coin jars. Look through your old piggy banks. Examine those forgotten rolls of coins in the back of the drawer, because one of them might just be a rare 1973 Washington quarter dollar that could change your life. Thanks for watching. If this video sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There are many more hidden treasures out there waiting to be discovered, and you might just be the one to find the next big one. Top 3. There's something strangely magical about coins. They pass through thousands of hands, travel across cities, sit quietly in drawers or pockets, all while carrying silent stories with them. Most people never stop to look at them closely, but some coins, just a few, are hiding secrets worth more than you can imagine. Today, we're going to reveal the mystery behind one of those coins. It's small, easy to overlook, and minted in a year most people forget. But if you're lucky enough to have the right one, it could be worth a fortune. This is the story of the 1982 Washington quarter dollar, an unassuming coin that holds a secret far more valuable than its 25-cent face. Let's begin by setting the stage. It's 1982. Ronald Reagan is president. Michael Jackson's Thriller is about to take over the world. Technology is booming. And yet, in the midst of all this, the U.S. Mint made a quiet decision that would forever change the value of a small number of quarters. This was the year the U.S. Mint stopped producing uncirculated coin sets for collectors due to budget cuts. That meant fewer pristine, untouched coins went into storage or private collections. Most 1982 quarters were heavily circulated, used daily, exposed to wear and tear. That alone already made high-grade examples of this coin more difficult to find. But that's just the beginning of the story. The Washington quarter had already been around for 50 years by 1982. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, it quickly became one of the most recognizable pieces of American currency. The design remained consistent. Washington's strong profile on the front and the iconic bald eagle on the back, wings spread, standing proudly on a bundle of arrows. But in 1982, something else changed, something small, but critical. That year, the U.S. Mint introduced a new way of distinguishing coin finishes. Quarters with a P mint mark were produced in Philadelphia, and D marked those from Denver. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1982 quarters were accidentally struck without a mint mark at all. Imagine that. A quarter that looks just like any other, but is missing a key detail. And for sharp-eyed collectors, that missing letter has made all the difference. Another key twist in this story is the quality of the die used to strike the coins. In some rare cases, the dies began to wear out or shift, creating what's called a die error, a double image, a weak strike, or misaligned features. These mistakes weren't caught immediately, so a few flawed coins made it into circulation. And once they did, they became ghost stories among collectors. Have you heard about the 1982 error quarter? Now, in general, quarters from this year aren't considered super rare. There were millions of them made. But rarity is never just about how many were created. It's about how many still exist in perfect condition or with rare traits that make them stand out. That's what makes the 1982 quarter so special. Between the missing mint marks, production quality issues, and lack of uncirculated sets, finding a flawless example is like spotting a needle in a haystack. And if you find one with an error, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Collectors began noticing that some 1982 quarters not only lacked a mint mark, but also appeared to have a lighter weight than usual. That led to speculation that a small number had been mistakenly struck on planchets intended for other coins, like a nickel or even a foreign coin blank. These rare minting errors sent collectors into a frenzy. But what really pushed this coin into legendary status was one single sale that a collector came across an uncirculated 1982 quarter that was perfectly preserved, with a stunning error, crisp details, and no visible mint mark. It had been sitting untouched for years in a private collection, almost forgotten. But when it was authenticated and professionally graded, it immediately caught attention in the numismatic world. The coin was put up for auction, and experts knew it was going to sell for a high price. But no one expected just how high. As bids started pouring in, The numbers climbed fast. This was a once-in-a-lifetime coin, a flawless error quarter from a low-availability year, a true anomaly. And when the auction finally ended, that little 1982 Washington quarter had sold for an unbelievable sum. That one tiny coin, once worth just 25 cents, was purchased for $115,000. Yes, $115,000. That's not a typo. That's the real value of knowing what to look for. The value of paying attention to the small things. The value of a piece of metal that's so much more than just change in your pocket. So now, the question is, do you have one? It's time to start digging. Go through your old coin jars. Check that box of change in the back of your closet. Look for the 1982 quarter. Look for a missing mint mark. Look for sharp edges and flawless faces. You never know, your next find could be hiding in plain sight. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story of hidden treasure. You'll be amazed at what everyday objects can be worth when you know what you're looking for. Top 4. How often do you really look at your change? For most people, a quarter is just 25 cents, something you drop into a vending machine or hand over without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of those quarters, specifically from the year 1986, could be worth more than your car? Maybe even more than your entire savings account. That's not just a dramatic hook. That's a real possibility, because some coins from 1986 aren't just currency, they're hidden treasures. And today, we're going to uncover the incredible story of the 1986 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that shocked the collecting world with its unexpected value and rare variants. To understand why this coin is so important, we have to take a short trip back through history. The Washington quarter first appeared in 1932. It was created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, America's first president. The coin's design was a tribute to leadership, history, and national pride. It was never meant to be a one-off. It became a permanent fixture in the pockets of Americans and was minted every year after that. Fast forward to 1986, America is in the heart of the Reagan era. The Cold War is still very real. The Space Shuttle Challenger has just tragically exploded, and pop culture is exploding with bold colors, neon lights, and synthesizers. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint was doing its usual job, striking coins to keep America running. But even in routine, mistakes happen. And sometimes, those mistakes lead to something extraordinary. The 1986 Washington quarter followed the standard design. On the front, a left-facing portrait of George Washington, his features bold and clear, the word Liberty across the top. "In God We Trust" on the left, in the year 1986 at the bottom. On the reverse, the bald eagle stands with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbols of strength and readiness. Millions of these quarters were minted. But here's where it gets interesting. While most of the coins struck that year were totally ordinary, a few came out different. And that's where this story takes a turn. Some 1986 Washington quarters were struck with minting errors that make them incredibly rare. We're talking about double strikes, off-center strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet, a blank mint for a different denomination, or even another country's currency. These rare mistakes slipped through quality control and went out into the world, hiding in cash registers, pockets, and piggy banks. And then, there are the condition-based rarities. In 1986, the U.S. Mint continued the use of base metal compositions, no longer using silver in regular quarters. That meant they were more prone to scratching and wear. Most of the quarters from that year show their age. They're scratched, faded, dented, but a few managed to avoid all of that. Some were never used, tucked away in rolls or sets, perfectly preserved in mint state condition. Those pristine coins are rare enough. But a 1986 quarter in mint condition with a minting error? That's where we enter elite territory. Now, let's talk about what makes these coins so exciting for collectors. First, the concept of a high-grade coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade above 65 is considered gem quality, flawless under magnification, no visible marks, no wear. Coins that reach that level can sell for thousands, even tens of thousands. Add in a minting error, and the price skyrockets. Some 1986 quarters have appeared with doubled dies, where parts of the design are duplicated slightly. You can see it in the date, the lettering, or even in Washington's eye or hair. Others have been found off-center or missing design elements due to weak strikes or filled dies. When collectors spot these kinds of features, they know they've found something special, and sometimes What seems like just another coin ends up setting records. That's exactly what happened not long ago when one lucky collector stumbled upon a 1986 Washington quarter that looked different. It had a unique strike, excellent condition, and after careful inspection and professional grading, it turned out to be one of the rarest quarters known from that year. The bidding war that followed was intense. Numismatists, those are expert coin collectors, recognized the rarity instantly. This wasn't just another mid-error. This was a once-in-a-generation find. And when the final gavel hit at the auction, the price it sold for left people speechless. That one 1986 Washington quarter, a small piece of American currency, originally worth just 25 cents, sold for $105,000. That's right. $105,000. It's hard to believe that something so small could be worth so much. But that's the world of rare coins. They're like time capsules, holding history, craftsmanship, and mystery in the palm of your hand. So here's the big question. Could you have one? Go check your old jars of change. Dig through those forgotten coin rolls. Open the drawer in your kitchen filled with random stuff. Look at every 1986 quarter you find. Check the condition. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Because one of those little coins could be hiding a secret worth more than you ever imagined. And if you ever needed a reason to start paying attention to your spare change, this is it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden world of valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. There's a lot more where this came from, and the next great discovery might be in your pocket right now. Top 5. Have you ever walked past a coin lying on the ground and didn't bother to pick it up? Or maybe you dumped all your loose change into a jar without even glancing at the dates, the details, the small stories etched into the metal. What if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking coins could be worth tens of thousands of dollars today? And even more surprising, it might be a quarter. Yes, just a 25-cent piece. A Washington quarter dollar from the year 1991. Most people never think twice about their change. Quarters pass through our hands every single day at parking meters, soda machines, car washes, and coffee shops. But not all quarters are created equal. Some are worth exactly what they say, 25 cents. Others, though, are worth thousands of times more. And a rare few are worth life-changing money. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1991 Washington quarter dollar, an overlooked coin that's now making waves in the world of coin collecting. Let's rewind the clock a bit. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 in honor of the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became a staple of American currency. Over time, the design stayed largely the same, Washington's profile on the front, an eagle on the back, and people got used to it. Comfortable, familiar, routine, but coins have stories. And sometimes, those stories take strange turns. By the time 1991 rolled around, the United States Mint had struck billions of Washington quarters over the decades. In fact, during the early 90s, coins were being produced at an incredible scale. Millions upon millions of 1991 quarters were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. That might make you think, how could one possibly be rare? Well, here's where things start to get interesting. First, let's talk about how coins are made. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. It's placed between two steel dies and then struck with immense pressure to stamp the design into the metal. It's a precise, high-speed process, but like any machine-based operation, errors can and do happen. And when they do, those mistakes, those rare imperfections can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. In 1991, a few of those mistakes slipped through the cracks. Some quarters from that year were struck off-center, meaning the design was not properly aligned with the coin. Others showed signs of double striking, where the die hit the coin more than once. Some were minted on the wrong metal blank entirely, planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins. These error coins are exceedingly rare, and they often end up being worth far more than anyone ever expected. But it's not just the errors. It's the condition. Most coins go straight into circulation and get scratched, worn down, dented, tossed into pockets and cash registers. But a small number somehow escape that fate. They end up untouched, uncirculated, in near-perfect condition. These are the coins that collectors prize the most. Combine an error with pristine, mint-state condition, and you have a coin that instantly becomes one of a kind. Now let's add another layer, grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 means absolute perfection. No blemishes, no marks, not even under magnification. A coin graded 67 or higher is already in elite territory. So when a rare 1991 quarter with an error is discovered in such condition, collectors take notice. Point one such coin surfaced not long ago. At first glance, it looked like any other quarter. But on closer inspection, the details began to reveal something rare. The surface was flawless. The strike was sharp. And then came the discovery it had been struck on a planchet meant for a different coin altogether. Once authenticated and graded by experts, this coin became the subject of intense interest in the numismatic world. Auctions houses were buzzing. Collectors started lining up. The bidding opened fast and furious. And in the end, one lucky owner saw their forgotten quarter, one that could have easily been spent on a coffee or fallen between couch cushions, sell for an absolutely jaw-dropping amount. That single 1991 Washington quarter dollar was purchased for $85,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin with a face value of just 25 cents, sold for $85,000. So the next time you get change at the store, don't just toss it in your cup holder or jar. Take a moment. Look at the date. Examine the edges. Check for mint marks. You might just be holding a piece of American history. You might be holding a treasure that everyone else overlooked. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss out on stories like this. Who knows? The next coin you find might be the one that changes your life.